So you hop on in to game number 1. Left side of the map, this is Matreiuss. Right side of the map, this is grass. We have a battle of father-son, right? Am I remembering this correctly? I can't. Well, at the very least, you have the god of the gods, and then the titan of the gods. I can't remember. I should know my Greek-ish mythology. Anyways, Uranus versus Zeus is a bit of a classic matchup to some degree. But, is it Zeus and Kronos? Where's Uranus in the whole family tree then? Ah, I screwed it up. Oh well. The big thing here is that Zeus wants to build hoplites, right? But hoplites don't do super well versus Murmillo. So what does Zeus do in order to get by mass Murmillo here early stages of the game? It's always going to be the difficulty here for the Greeks. And Grass, he is quite known for saying, if I can build pure Murmillo, I will build pure Murmillo, and I'm never going to stop. That's the Grass attitude. That's the Grass way of being. So it is incumbent upon Matreiuss to find his way through this matchup and force Grass off of that mass Murmillo idea. Now, a lot of the people will say, hey, if Murmillo are getting built, you can build yourself a Paspis. Get to the heroic age, build yourself a Paspis, and you're in a good spot. The only issue with that is then you have to run into Curse, and then the Paspis kill themselves. Also, Satyr coming through as well. So it's not that simple. Athena, Oceanus are going to be the gods of choice. I love this temple built by Grass, slowly trying to surround the town center to prevent any sort of hoplite raids or things like that. The other issue here is that Zeus is a god who really shines with building myth units, and it can be difficult to find the opportunities to build those myth units versus Uranus. As we do see a bolt getting dropped down. I believe that was on the hero oracle there as well. That's a good value bolt as he picks up Hecate's torch. That's nice, and this is exactly what Matreiuss is actually going to be wanting here, because one of the main benefits outside of myth units is going to be the god power recasting. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Matreiuss going into multiple restoration usages in this game, being 10% cheaper with that Hecate's torch. Other relics on the map, up onto the top here. Well, that one's being grabbed already. We take a quick look. It is going to be Girdle of Hippolyta, which makes those ranged soldiers a little bit stronger. Not the most of impactful. Hestia's Hearth here, making villagers train faster, is always nice. And then finally, at the bottom of the map, there is the Bridle of Pegasus, which gives you a free Pegasus as the Minotaur charges forward here. Caladria in to cause some delays there, as now the heroes are on their way, and Grass has got to be really careful with that Caladria. One of the changes to the Caladria and flying units in general is that, well, it gets a little bit more HP, but it can get sniped out of the sky very, very easily, as immediately a couple of hero Murmillos are going to be coming in. Matreiuss is well and truly on the aggro side of things here, as you can't really take these early fights versus the hero Murmillo because the Caladria is there. That's going to heal up those units as the Minotaur pulls back, little bits of damage to come through. And of course, Grass just continuing to just get himself out some units. The burst heal comes through. Minotaur has been pacified up there, as you can see a little bit of damage onto that Caladria. It gets sent back. It has to run all the way back there, but another Caladria in is going to be enough to actually keep both the Caladrias alive behind all of this pressure. As Matreiuss continuing to push forward, he will be able to, oh, no, not quite yet able to do much with the stuff. Does he turn and take out the Carnivora? Yes, he does, as down goes one hero Murmillo, as the Manticore going to be doing a lot of good damage. Restoration super early there from Matreiuss, as he is very much happily saying it is time to get going in this matchup. The Minotaur goes down. The restoration down is kind of a big deal here, as that Murmillo hero that's getting sent back in, and that's going to get healed all the way back up to full HP, as Matreiuss just going to continue to attempt to pick units off. He gets another Murmillo kill. Every kill here is sort of huge for Matreiuss, because realistically he shouldn't be here, because those Caladria are so much value. Heracles and Jason trying to take out the Caladria on the back, not able to do so as the burst heal does come through. Now behind this, it's time for Matreiuss to say, all right, foot off the pedal. As the Pegasus coming out, we do have the citizens over onto the right side on that hunt. A little bit of misplay from Matreiuss to some degree there. He shouldn't have been letting that go on, but knowing that it's happening and stopping it happening and all that other stuff is easy for me to say, difficult for Matreiuss to really figure out. That being said, now a counter barrack's actually up from Grass, as Grass might be considering to go into Karo Ballista here just to slow down the mass hoplite sort of situation that he's dealing with. Now, there is Tusker boss over here, and Matreiuss may have scouted the Oracle on this top side, as the hoplites, they are in hot pursuit. Just two of them. Two of them will be enough to pick off the Oracle, and limiting the number of Oracles against Uranos is so incredibly important, because you get so much favor for free here, technically. Of course, one Oracle was built, and also there's an Oracle hero somewhere on the map, right? Or is it dead? Yes, there's one Oracle hero in that bottom corner. It's around onto the bottom side now. In comes the Grass raiding force. He does have himself Empyrean speed, which does speed up those Murmillos, as he's charging it onto this side, trying to find something to hit here. Into the main base he's going to be coming, and this is a little bit dangerous for him, because the army of Matreiuss here has been happily spamming out hoplites here. Now, of course, the Murmillos, they can simply just run away, but he might be dropping a Murmillo here to getting snared up. The hoplites are quite speedy, and we will be seeing behind this as well the Sarissa on the way, as these Galadriel standing or flying over here gets the healing in, and then the Murmillo say, hey, if you're gonna charge in there, we will just simply turn and take the fight. As onto the backside, heroes do zone the Caladria there, but in onto this position comes the Carnivora. You didn't even get the Caladria kill either, and Grass in full flight now has got a full offensive going on, and Matreiuss needs to pull back into his main base. Up onto this top side, however, in comes the hoplites. They see an opportunity to get some damage done, as medium hoplites is through, but Matreiuss has fallen behind on the production for the moment, as the citizens will dive into the matter, and hoplites, well, they sort of can't get away with these attacks, because the Murmillos have the speed advantage. Even if they didn't have the speed advantage, they've got sky passages there as well, as in comes the watchtowers to help out on this fight. Is that going to be enough, as the Murmillos, well, there goes the shockwave, but the Murmillos are looking incredibly powerful for the time being. Matreiuss pulling back here. Hoplites retreating from this position as well, as he's not able to get the value where that's concerned. And I think behind all of this, Matreiuss, he's still building some hoplites, but it looks to me like he wants a heroic age. The only issue here for Matreiuss is I don't really get a lot from going to the heroic age as Zeus. Unlike, say, Hades or Poseidon or even Demeter, your god powers are a little bit lacking to actually get away with a heroic age, unless you've already got the units in, which Matreiuss doesn't really have. So bronze obviously is the one that comes to mind, right? But I don't think he's got enough units to really break out of his base with a bronze and win a fight to get himself a gold mine. So he's going to go through Apollo, which is interesting because it allows him to potentially underworld away from where the Murmillo are, get a fortress up, and maybe be okay here. As up onto the top side, villagers do get spotted, but that little bit too late as the Hoplite's going to attempt to take down the Mana, but there are already a handful of Mamillo in pursuit here, and Grass is looking more and more in control of this game as we speak. Only the one villager on favor as well from Matreiuss. Going into Manticores kind of feels like a half decent idea here until you realize, well, if you do that, you have to hide it really, really well, because Grass, he is going to be able to get himself this technology and then heroize all of his Mamillos to take you out very, very quickly. Matreiuss is just trying to get all the damage done. He will be able to pick off an economic guild here potentially, though he did lose a hoplite for it, as these hoplites will get back home. And of course, Matreiuss here, he can get Temple of Healing, is in onto this position now. The Murmillos, they're coming through. Villagers do need to get pulled away. And behind all of this, Matreiuss does have a lot of resources, so he can get out a lot of Hypaspis here if he's given the time, if he's given the opportunity. While these hoplite raids are simply just distracting. The gold mine is finished. Manticore plus, I don't know how many, we're like 10, 15, 15-ish Hypaspis, I guess. They can get those all spent and get out of his base, as an archery range is going to come down for some potential Peltast, as the villagers will wander over here. But Matreiuss has to remember there's a Carnivora sitting on that gold mine. So heroes will come over onto this spot, take this out. There is the hoplite running around onto this corner, looking for everything. Grass behind this. Well, he is, without question, going to be looking for a chaos push here. The question is, maybe another restoration to keep him alive? Keep Matreiuss alive? Alternatively, a cheeky Pegasus, say over here, for an underworld onto this spot, or an underworld onto this spot, to retreat from the push. Potentially also an underworld into the main base to cause some issues and maybe take out the town center. But for the moment, Matreiuss just has to sit back and wait. He is getting more Manticore in. If he can hide him, it's going to be really nice, but I don't even think... Well, that's not going to be hiding them anymore. I don't even think that Grass cares, because he's going to just go straight into full heroes with that frontline heroics coming in, and those Murmillos are going to be really, really strong here. But for the moment, Matreiuss is managing to get himself some much-needed gold. The Hypaspists will slowly be coming in as a market gets dropped down. Not exactly sure what that's for, as there goes the Underworld Passage onto this position. We'll be able to pick off a citizen. Is that it, though? As the army is going to come over here, restoration is not available, so the units can get stuck on this spot. Matreiuss pulls back. Hoplites going after the military barracks there, and I think you just simply need to run from this position. Trying to force a chaos or something is not the play. Underworld still under target here. The shockwave comes down, and I imagine a chaos is going to be next, and Matreiuss' army here is going to melt to this as he pulls back with these units, and that there is going to be game over. I like the idea of buying some time with this underworld, letting that die, then the army pushes forward, and then he's got a restoration in bank for this fight on this position, and he survives another day, and he's going to be in a good spot. I don't know why Matreiuss felt like charging back out onto this spot to get what? I don't know. There's just no damage there, unfortunately, for Matreiuss. But of course, Grass, he shows why his Uranus is incredibly feared here. And Matreiuss not able to make it work with his Greek. He put some incredible pressure on in the early stages of the game, but unfortunately for Matreiuss, he sort of let Grass get away with it, because Grass was on hunt during that forward attack, where you would expect the Uranus to actually be on berries or chickens, or at the very least having spent favor and wood and building time on sky passages. But Grass didn't do either of that, so he was able to defend very, very nicely. That there is game number 1 in the books here. However, let's jump back over to the draft and see what game number 2 is going to be bringing us. Alrighty, so our next game is going to be on the map Giza, and we do have another sort of interesting matchup here. This is a Set versus Isis on Giza, which is very, very, I would say, sort of bizarre here. Both players like trying to snipe the enemy Norse, I guess, but both players not able to do so. They both big Egyptian. So we get an Egyptian mirror. Now, last time I said this matchup was mostly, well, I don't know. I really don't understand the Egyptian mirror anymore. It's a matchup that it used to be very simple. You just spam camel riders nonstop. Now it's not that simple. I think there's a lot of extra stuff going on in there. Alrighty. So. For everyone who's joining in now and not really understanding exactly what we've got going on today, this is the semifinals, and we're going to do the finals of the fourth playoff, or the fourth qualifier, the fourth participant for the Athens LAN at Gameathlon in Athens in September. So on September 11th, 12th, and 13th, we're going to be inside the Taekwondo Olympic Arena in Athens playing Age Mythology. So that's what we're playing here for. That's what these guys are fighting for. And well, enough of that, because let's jump into game number 2, Set versus Isis on Giza. And off to the races we go. Right side of the map, Matreiuss. Left side of the map, Grass. As we jump into game number 2, Grass looking very comfortable at the moment. Matreiuss attempted his sort of tried and true early aggression, tried to find the value early on, tried to outplay. I feel like he got pretty good value with his early aggression. The problem is, to put it bluntly, there's just nothing to find there apart from limiting an Uranus from being on second hunt. And he just didn't play for that specific angle. And Grass was left going, fantastic, we're playing Hoplites versus Mermillo, finds the win. So the question is, now moving into the Egyptian mirror, which is very, very different from a Zeus versus Uranus matchup, is Matreiuss going to attempt to exert that early aggression again? Or is he going to try and be a little bit more defensive and happily just playing for some sort of a timing attack type thing, or even just playing a full defensive eco style of game? Let's check out the relics on the map and see what they've got to say for themselves. The Great Sompartly here for the Sentry Tower is getting a little bit cheaper. Never really seen that relic getting the love that it needs. I don't think it's a very useful relic, in all honesty. Bridle of Pegasus here as well is very, very nice. If you get locked in your base, you'll still be able to get some scouting done. Feather of Bafang over here with some human soldiers getting some extra bonus damage versus buildings is always nice. And finally, the Armor of Achilles here, making the infantry a little bit more effective. can mean that maybe making some spearmen here does make sense. As the temple for Matreiuss coming up in the main base. Does he have himself his upgrade? Yes, he does. Flood of the Nile is in. The grass on the other side, he is also going to be dropping his own temple, but going a little bit slower to the classical age, it seems, than what Matreiuss is going to be doing. So this could indicate that this might be a one town center fast heroic. It could indicate that it's going to be some sort of a classical fight. We are going to be seeing Matreiuss going for his tried and true Bast. He loves a good Bast. He loves a Sphinx. Sphinx can be incredibly potent, very, very dangerous unit that can end games in a heartbeat, especially when mixed in with an Eclipse. If you get caught out, it can be game over. Of course, we're going to be seeing Anubis from Grass, which I think is very interesting. Though I have to say, I'm a little bit more partial in this specific matchup to going for Thar, so that you get that leather frame shield to give your spearmen a little bit more survivability versus, say, chariot archers. The Grass is going up for a second monument, and I think that means he is going to be... Well, he's got a lot of villagers on gold, so it might just be a delayed second town center from Grass. But I have to say, with the second monument coming up, some earlier Nubites into a second town center kind of makes sense. On the flip side here, Matreiuss is empowering a monument. He is literally empowering the monument to the soldiers to give him just a little bit more favor early on. And he drops the armory and the market. And I could be wrong, but this looks to me like a fast heroic. As the armory gets dropped down, the villagers on the gold mine will be spotted. And Grass, well, he has to make a really good decision here. I think he sees that this is not... I think he sees that this is not a second town center play. I think he sees that this is going to be a fast heroic. So a town center here, this is really, really slow from Grass. But decent gold mine here. Decent gold mine here, and decent gold mine up on the top here as well, does allow for some defensive maneuvering to survive a massive all-in from Matreiuss. And, well, he is going for a massive all-in here. I don't see any other way to put it. Moving around off of this position, going to be taking his time to move over onto the hunt as well, as the priest in the center of the map does get caught out, but a couple more priests are in here to deal with this Anubite. I don't think that Anubite is surviving, and, well, neither did Grass, because he didn't try and retreat it. As the Pegasus comes in for Matreiuss, trying to scout out what's happening, sees the gold mine on the right, might see the gold mine on the left here as well, but definitely will see the town center. And this gives quite a lot of sort of agency for Matreiuss. He can very easily say, fantastic, let me walk forward and drop a Migdol right here on the front, or right here in between these two gold mines to lock that off. And then he can look to put pressure onto this town center, and then with all the obelisks down, maybe a Scorpion Man over onto this gold mine, and maybe, just maybe, lock Grass off of every gold mine on the map. Alrighty. Now in comes the Nephthys from Grass, or just about to. Armories as well. And surely the villagers for Matreiuss need to start moving forward. He does drop that prosperity down. But the issue with going prosperity this early is you just start floating gold when you're in the heroic age. It's very tough to actually get that all spent. I much prefer to put the Migdol down first, and the siege works, then put my villagers onto gold, then click prosperity. Going to this side, the Sphinx just trying to get small amounts of value done. After all is said and done, there's only a tiny advantage here for Matreiuss in terms of timing. Like, it's less than a minute. And Matreiuss is actually going to be dropping the Migdol in basically on his side of the map, which to me seems really, really strange. At the very least here, so we can launch off this and lock off these 2 gold mines. But nonetheless, all the obelisks are up, so Matreiuss will spot where he needs to go when he needs to go there. Ancestor's Eclipse is also going to be an option, so we can use that to potentially lock off a position or use that to do something else. Lots of favor in the bank for some Scorpion men, as well as pure Camel Rider on the way. The villagers make their way over onto the left side here as a Migdol stronghold is slowly going to start coming through. And do you drop that Ancestor's Eclipse down or not? As you see this, I don't think you do. There's 3 priests and a pharaoh. The Migdol's going to be up without question here for grass. And Matreiuss's advantage here is going down the toilet as he drops Ancestor's Eclipse. Ancestor's coming in as well. The Migdol stronghold, that's finished. What? I mean, he comes in with the Scorpion Man on the right side. He's looking for damage in the main base while this is all going on. And all of the minions get taken out. Matreiuss is going for a town center behind this as well. As I get even more confused about what's happening. As the Scorpion Man, at the very least, is going to get nothing done, actually. I don't even think he gets 1 attack off. Well, Grass now up 10 villagers in a commanding position. Can drop a monument down onto this Migdol as well so he can get cheaper camel riders. I wouldn't be surprised to see him even thinking, well, let's just go next age here. But then again, the one thing that I guess Matreiuss has going for him at the moment is that Grass thinks he can just sit back and play defense. And he's just going to get further and further and further in front. And while it's true he will, he's only really 10 villages in front. So that's 600 resources a minute of advantage for Grass. 600 resources because there's that Flood of the Nile in for being Isis and things like that. But there is so many other benefits for playing Set here. This is really strange. Camel Riders to try and charge in that 1 Scorpion Man is going to be a little bit of a nuisance here as Matreiuss pushes forward. There's not really anywhere to attack here either, as Grass is playing an incredibly well-defended game. Chariot Archers into the mix is a little bit strange. We will see some Giraffe of Set getting built here from Grass as well to try and delay his farm transition for as long as he possibly can. Of course, Matreiuss is on food out here. He's got all of that going on. There is a world here. We're playing for the 2nd gold mine as a gold starve. I don't know if that is actually going to be a thing or not, but it might be something that Matreiuss can do. Grass is catching up on that military diff. Double Scorpion Man plus Sphinx in now for Matreiuss is somewhat scary, as now also in comes the heavy Camel Rider. Just making another move into the main base here as the army very much stuck on this position. Into the main base comes the Camel Riders. They will just cause a little bit of idle time. I really like Matreiuss being in the staying here, but just tiny bits of idle time is fine. As he does see the monument to the soldiers and says, that's a weak building. That's going to be damaged. Let's kill that. Nice find where that's concerned is now in comes the Camel Riders here. While that's going on though, Matreiuss with the multitasking, he needs to get some Vil picks here as the Scorpion Men, they do get that special off. How many villagers does he actually end up managing to kill there though? Now it's down to a difference of 8 villagers. That's got to feel good. Every little bit of damage for Matreiuss is going to matter here, as Grass probably still doesn't realize he's up against the 2TC Isis. It's just a very delayed 2nd town center. He's still playing super defensive, not looking for raids, not trying to take out obelisks and things like that all across the map. The other thing to keep in the back of your mind is there is a potential for another prosperity here at any point when that favor comes to 60. And that's another big boost in economy for Matreiuss to keep his advantage cooking here. As more Camel Riders are going to be coming in. We've not seen a forward Migdol going up just yet. Obelisk getting cleaned up here is really smart by Grass, because now he's going to be able to look for his own raids over onto the right side of the map. As in comes Matreiuss, though, trying to get some value here as the Camel Riders pushing away. In comes the Camel Riders onto this position. Priest over here getting taken out. Matreiuss not happy with the fight just yet. He's got a couple of priests on the backside that he absolutely needs in here. The units for Matreiuss not really able to make that fight happen. Onto the backside come the Camel Riders there as well. Priests do take out one Scorpion Man. The other Scorpion Man gets brought back as Plague of Serpents is brought through. But does that help out in the slightest here is the big question, as Matreiuss says, yes, that's too much for me. He's still trying to micro this one. Scorpion Men all end up falling there, and Matreiuss pulls out of this position in Grass. Ends up finding himself a gigantic advantage after the fight finishes up there. He's in front on military. He's in front on eco. Lots of resources in the bank now after that fight for a potential mythic age here as well. Matreiuss on the flip side, he's going to get up a Migdol on this right side, but he does have his own mythic age, which could be a good option as well here. So all the units just going to get healed back up. Monument to the Soldiers down. Upgrades and more Camel Riders is the choice from Grass. But Matreiuss decides, no, let's go Thoth. And this here is very scary. Grass needs to put a very large amount of pressure on and get some damage done, because he's just decided to tech in and basically stay in the heroic age. I think that's what that bronze weapons means, and of course all the extra Camel Riders and potentially another Migdol and things like that. As well, Matreiuss knows what he's doing. He just has to sit back and have a really, really good defense here as the Camel Riders onto this side. The Grass Camel Riders do look very, very menacing there. Walls up onto the top, don't actually end up getting finished, as I think this Hyena got a kill. Oof, one villager down. But crenellations will come through. And Age of Camel Rider continues. So neither player says, let's try and build a Spearman, because why do that? The other option here for Matreiuss could be to go into some Phoenix, but I think unfortunately it's not going to be super useful here. There's only a handful of priests for Grass, so maybe if he gets out all of them instead of going for the other option, it might be okay. As in onto this position, the fight's going to be coming. Camel Rider numbers still very low for Matreiuss, as Matreiuss just needs to hug that Migdol a little bit more. There's no problems with just playing defense here underneath the Migdol, especially with crenellations. As the wall up to the top will go down, and with the Mythic Age in, like, where do you drop Meteor is the question. Of course, Grass wants to get any damage done he possibly can. Checking up to the top gold mine, seeing nothing there. Farms are up into this situation here as well, as Matreiuss gets the garrison in. Valley of the Kings is going to come through, and in a very short amount of time, this Valley of the Kings is going to help Matreiuss get up to full Camel Rider, and more importantly, in comes champion Camel Riders. As down to the bottom side, the Camel Riders are going to hit this Migdol stronghold. This is the one where the Pharaoh is. This is the most important part. And Matreiuss's Pharaoh does get... Nope, doesn't go down. Gets caught out, but doesn't go down. Going to try and move up to potentially the top Migdol stronghold is into the main base. Comes the Camel Riders here. Do we see that Meteor or not is the big question. Villagers are in onto this position, so there is potential for a lot of kills to actually end up coming through. Matreiuss not paying attention here. He's going all over the place. A Meteor onto this position could also be gigantic. He sees the Pharaoh there as well. As the champion Camel Riders is in. Phoenix on this side trying to get some of that juicy damage done. It's back up onto this side. The villagers are coming through. No Meteor still. Still waiting on it. Champion Camel Riders to take out some priests over here as the defensive Camel Riders coming back in, and Thoth now on the way for Grass. And I'm so confused with what Matreiuss is actually going for here. He's going to try and take some units down. In now comes the Meteor, and he does not hit anything with that Meteor. He's going to get a couple of Camel Riders. I don't even think the Migdol Stronghold is going to die here. Hits the villagers onto the top, as now it's an equal villager situation, but there's no real avenue to continue pushing for the moment, and the big question is all going to come down to, can Grass get revenge damage done with his own Mythic Age? If he just clicked Meteor onto the main town center when all the villagers were there, I think he would have killed 20 villagers plus. But nonetheless, up onto this side again comes the raid from Grass, as any amount of distraction here is going to be really key. Camel Riders swinging around to get some defense in. We take a quick look at the armory situation. Matreiuss, he's not actually behind here on upgrades. He's just behind on military for the time being. Another Migdol coming up onto the front here to secure that position, as the Camel Riders will continue to trade little bit by little bit. Grass with the micro there, pulling back, pulling Matreiuss all over the place. If we take a look in the main base of Matreiuss, his actual main town center can get nuked by a Meteor, which is generally your best bet when you're playing against the speedy enemy units. And now the Mythic Age is through. A couple of Animals of Set will come in for Grass, and the Phoenix to boot is up to the top side. Matreiuss looking to hit this position, but the Camel Riders, they're sitting back. Champion Camel Rider, Valley of the Kings on the way as well now, as Matreiuss gets sent packing. But both players have got, what I would say both players have got no significant advantage at the moment. Though this here is a significant advantage from Grass starting to cook up, but no significant advantage in terms of who's got the stronger Camel Rider, which is kind of what normally happens in this sort of a matchup. As up onto the top side, one good fight for Matreiuss as the Grass Camel Riders are pulled back over onto this side. Now the Phoenix is going to go after these villagers. Villagers onto this gold mine here might need to pull back. There's only 4 of them, not the end of the world, as these villagers getting pulled away. But the Phoenix is going to do so much damage to these villagers, as the Camel Riders as well are going to go down quickly to boot there. As the defensive Camel Riders to come in from Matreiuss, but Grass has got his Phoenix in. Armory check, as there is an advantage, ever so slight. Bronze Mail in, as onto the front side. There goes that Meteor, and this is the Meteor you want to hit. But villagers trying to get into the Migdol Stronghold, they do manage to do so. But that should mean at least one Migdol goes down. Do the villagers survive? The villagers survive there. They get so lucky. That's so lucky for Matreiuss. They were all just clumped. One Meteor hit on those villagers, and Matreiuss's eco advantage would be eviscerated. It's Matreiuss grouping up. Both players in onto this position now. It's really a battle of securing gold mines when it comes down to it. Matreiuss has got this one, which is huge. Grass as well needs to grab this one now next. And of course, Matreiuss has got to have that in the back of his mind, that he has to deal with that, as iron weapons to come in next for Matreiuss would be gigantic, as the priests trading blows here. Phoenix going down onto this side. This Phoenix here staying alive for a very long time versus only 2 priests, but who wins the fight? As an attempt at micro from Matreiuss, I can't really tell it. It's very, very close after all is said and done, as the Phoenix on the back does end up falling. Matreiuss pushes Grass back, as the catapult there is going to go down. And also the Phoenix going to be back from the ashes there for Matreiuss as well. You can see how important just one of these is here. I'd love to see, too, the favors in the bank now, and there's not really a whole lot left to spend it on outside of potential extra prosperities. As up to the top now, Matreiuss checking this gold mine again. I mean, he's not going to know to move on to this gold mine here, but having vision of it is very important. And, well, excuse me, of course he's going to know to move there, as he comes around 5 villagers onto this position to get pushed back. More villagers going to move forward, and Grass has got 800 gold left and a dream as Iron Weapons is coming through. Matreiuss just simply has the advantage here in tech now, and even at equal population, it's not equal because Isis has got 10 more, but even at equal population now, Grass is not going to be able to win a fight. Matreiuss just needs to wait for Iron Weapons and then take the fight. And in comes Matreiuss, darting in and out, waiting it out. Grass can't do much but sit here and just wait for the attack. Bronze Mail does come through. That's a big help for Grass, but he's still behind on tech. As in comes the Phoenix onto the top there as well. This is not going to be an easy fight to win. Matreiuss trying to go back and forth here when I think he just should be looking to attack. He's got the timing advantage. A Migdol Stronghold is going to change everything. Main base under attack by one random siege tower. That's a problem. Maybe going up for Iron Mail here as well wouldn't go astray. Matreiuss has actually got himself the extra town center, so I think he's just waiting for that population to come in. More villagers now moving in for Grass as Grass just continues to get the pokes through, but this is giving Grass that time to get that Migdol Stronghold up. This siege tower is getting so much value into the main base of Matreiuss. Matreiuss finally says it's time to go. Camel Riders on the back need to get going as one Phoenix is dead there, but another one going to move in onto this top side. Of course, the priests are there to try and deal with it, but it takes a long time for the Phoenix to actually go down. The Camel Riders coming to finish off that siege tower as Phoenix retreats. Priest going down. Camel Riders are dead for Grass, and Matreiuss is going to be pushing through this gold mine, even with the Migdol Stronghold in, as the 24-minute shaft bite also gets finished up there for Matreiuss. Phoenix back in onto the top. Only one priest remains, and this thing is going to be a monster unit, but not a monster unit if it just sits out of range. But Grass just can't get himself in an army to deal with this, and Matreiuss, after all is said and done, is going to be finding himself a revenge win for game number 2 here, ladies and gentlemen. What a back and forth, heart-pounding game. Matreiuss with what I would call one of the most offbeat, one town center fast, heroic ideas I think I've ever seen. He goes fast heroic into a defensive Migdol, into a, I guess, 1-for-1 trade or 1.5-for-1 trade of Ancestors Eclipse, and drops a town center behind it. So he is falling behind. Without question, he's falling behind on economy here. And then he loses the fight, right? He loses the fight. But he hits the Mythic Age first. And from hitting that Mythic Age first, Grass just couldn't find any value with that little bit of timing and advantage he would have had. He was trying to find the advantage, but he just couldn't find it. And, well, Matreiuss does what Matreiuss does best when he's in control, and he claims map control and claims game number 2. Well, we've got ourselves a series here. Both of these guys mean business at the moment. Let's jump back over to the draft and see what we're going to see for game number 3. All right, our next map is going to be on Elysium, and we have ourselves, yet again, another very, very interesting matchup. Every single one of these matchups is kind of like a throwback. We've got a Kronos versus not Thor, that's not Loki, excuse me. A Kronos versus Thor matchup. So, this is a throwback just on the fact that we don't normally see Kronos picked on land anymore. And it used to be a big pick on land to try and punish Egyptian players, right? was kind of one of the main ideas. Grass picking Kronos here might have been to try and snipe the Loki, but I don't understand that very well. Might have been to try and play into the Japanese, but I don't understand that either. I don't think it's there to go into the Thor. I'm very confused about this Kronos pick. I think, I mean, when you think about where the gods probably want to go here, you would think, okay, Thor on Ghost Lake, Loki on, I guess Loki on Elysium. That's got to be the thought process, with maybe a Susanoo or Matreiuss on Blue Lagoon type deal. But that being said, Kronos has got some very, very interesting ways to play versus Norse at the moment, and it does sort of revolve around myth units, where Thor can go for a lot of Hersa. It doesn't really matter because the Karaballister are going to come in. And if you can make Karaballister Catapulties myth units versus Thor versus Loki, even though they have that Forceti and they have the stronger Hersa because of it, it's not that simple. That being said, Matreiuss, I have seen him open with what I would consider the correct way to open with Thor versus Kronos against non-Kronos. I've seen him do it, which is a fast temple into an early Hersa. As I say, a thank you to Ablaze River for the donation there, my friend. Appreciate you so much. Thank you. If you guys do want to donate, you can do super chats on YouTube. You can also donate in the thing below in the about section there. You can buy merch as well. You can pick up a Prostagma t-shirt and all that other good stuff. So lots of ways. If you want to support, you can. I appreciate everyone for all of that good stuff. Also, ask, is Matreiuss Mexican or Italian? It is Matreiuss, the Italian stallion. That's what we know. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, we are about to get going with game number 3 here. Hope everyone's having a fantastic Sunday, and you're in for a very wild day of Age Mythology. Remember, the next series after this one is a absolute star-studded affair with probably 2 of the most popular YouTube, Twitch presences that Age Mythology top players have got, with Soup and Magic. So that's going to be a very, very exciting series to watch. Alrighty. But for now, I am excited. I want to see what Matreiuss has got cooking here. I want to see if Grass decides to play something a little bit offbeat. I don't think I want to see him go for the Kronos Rush and just get obliterated by a Thor. But then again, maybe that's the way to play. We'll have to wait and see. But not very long. Let's jump into game number 3. Matreiuss, Grass, 1-1. Elysium the map. Off we go. Alright, as we jump into game number 3, right side of the map, Matreiuss as Thor, left side of the map, Grass as Kronos. And yes, this, ladies and gentlemen, is what we in the business like to call a Kronos Rush. On the flip side, Matreiuss has already got his temple down and he's already building out his Hersa. Now, this is just the start of the whole thing. Where Grass goes from this, that's going to be a big question mark. Now, the Hersa, heroes in general in the Archaic Age have been made stronger so they can slowly deal with Myth Unit if they have the time. We will see an attempt to get some relics in here. There kind of is time to get out and onto it. There's Harmonious Necklace over there. Pigs coming in. The Oracle on the back here, trying to spot things, trying to see where a potential temple might be. And as Matreiuss going into what must be his final couple of dwarves before he advances, and it's going to be Leto actually from grass. So a Leto Chronos Rush with no forward temple though. That's a little strange. Oh, never mind. There is a forward temple. It's coming in over onto this side, but isn't that late? Isn't that late? Deconstruction coming in onto the temple into the main base. Temple gonna get dropped back down by Matreiuss. I don't like the temple positioning on the town center is always the right play after a temple gets deconstructed. But wait, it is late. It's not late. The automaton, okay, the automaton spawn on this side. Okay, there you go. Shows what I know. Or does it? There the automatons come, and grass is on the way. Matreiuss, he can pull off of this and just sit in underneath his main town center, drop a dwarven mine and be okay here, as the temple is now up. Villagers still under attack, but the Hearser will swing that big hammer, trying to get some damage done. Villagers garrisoning one side of the town center to the other side. It's a lot of pain coming in right now for Matreiuss. It's been a while since I've seen the Chronos Rush, and of course one of the best ways to deal with the Chronos Rush is to drop a healing spring down as soon as you hit that second age, just to make sure that everyone gets back up to a very healthy amount of resources. As in now comes a catapulti here is a bit of a strange one. Another thing you can do here is when you pick off a unit, you can drop, I'm just going to give away some secrets, you can just drop a wall over it. Bam. Hard to repair that one up, as Caraballister is going to come through. Still no healing spring. One Caraballister might be enough to deal with the Hearser, as Matreiuss is actually currently housed. There's no Valor, so you can kind of just chase it down. As the Caraballister pops out, and in they go. Nice shoot and scoot, and Matreiuss here, he has to deal with a pretty nasty tactic there. Oh, almost got the micro there wrong from grass. He only picks off one Hearser for the Caraballister, so that's a good trade there. Is the catapulti hero coming in? That's going to get sent packing. Up onto this side, one automaton gets rebuilt. There's more automaton are going to be coming through. 9 times out of 10, the best building to drop immediately upon hitting the classical age is going to actually be the Great Hall. But Matreiuss just goes, you know what? You know what? I wanna build a dwarven armory in your face. Are you kidding me? Is that not kind of insane? He's got the healing spring, so he can sort of tank everything up. He has to be careful here not to lose the Hearser, but he can tank everything up. And now he's just going to go into armory upgrades. That's a wild choice. Nonetheless, Hearser now, they decide, well, I can just leave. He's going to look for some raids at the moment after going into an armory. God, that's such a ballsy move from Matreiuss. It's like max greed and then max pressure while getting rushed. And having a forward exposed gold mine. Because why not? Now into the main base here. Matreiuss is coming through. Jonas, Janarsson. We've got multiple Jonas Janarson, apparently. A random guy, dude, fellow. The party of units, well, they're going to have to think about coming back home now. Still no Great Hall means no raiding cavalry to simply take out those Karabalista. I gotta say, I think this greed from Matreiuss, well, this might be biting him in the bum a little bit here. Now we see the Great Hall. Wall's back to work for the time being. He did get up 2 upgrades, so we got 2 dwarves out from it all. In onto this side, the temple coming in, and Matreiuss sees the opportunity to potentially take that out. Going after it is the troll doing what it can. Can he finish off the temple here? It's going to be close. No, he can't, and he loses a Hursar for it. Some brutal damage there from those Karabalista. But now the Great Hall is up. Raiding cavalry are going to be slowly starting to trickle in. And there is still a Dwarven gold mine remaining here for Matreiuss, so he can drop that behind here if need be and start mining that up. It's not the end of the world to do that, especially because you might get the favor in as well. So Hursar can sit back, get the healing back in, but Grass, he has full control at the moment on this side, and actually Matreiuss says, let's go for a gold mine on the left side rather than going for that Dwarven gold mine. Very risky, and well, Grass is no slouch here. He spots that immediately, but now he has to split up his units a little bit. That's kind of difficult, as we will see a hero Karabalista getting converted in here. Cave Troll's going to be on the way there for Matreiuss as well. Garrison Micro from the Hursar gets himself back to safety as another counter barracks is in. And surely, at this point, a sneaky move here to come onto this side. But that's what Matreiuss kind of wants here. Away from the spider lair. Away from everything. Catch out the Karabalista, and then you win the game here as Thor. Don't catch out the Karabalista, and you stay in a very big bind. As the spider lair gets dropped onto this side, and well, that's the scary part. I guess the dwarves will need to make a run for it. Back into the main base, and of course, Matreiuss can do a quick hop with these villagers back onto this gold mine, no problems. As in now comes the raiding cavalry onto that back line. Karabalista getting targeted down as the units will try and get back here to defend. One Karabalista down. Will we see another one go down? Of course, losing the raiding cavalry to the spider eggs is somewhat painful, but it's better to take the Karabalista out than not. Matreiuss is gold starved. Well, he's not getting gold in at the moment, but gets a couple of Karabalista kills, and the military differential is getting close. Another Dwarven armory up for Matreiuss as he wants to continue his shenanigans for the time being, and Grass actually says time to pull back home. What's the next play from Grass, though, if he's going to stop putting the pressure on? He's got 3 oracles. He's got himself a pretty scary army. He's got the automatons. He's got vision of the main base to some degree here and here. Matreiuss, another Great Hall, and it looks like the next option is going to be a Heroic Age for Grass and Groom. There's now Hammer of Thunder to come through. Does give a little bit more damage for those Hursar, as well as some all-important extra favor. As the temple gets caught out again, and this time Matreiuss will be taking it out, and he might be able to take out the counter barracks here as well. Am I going crazy? Are all the relics still up here? They are. Are there any good ones? Harmony's necklace is up onto that side. I don't think that Matreiuss would have spotted that. He's got no scouting in. Playing as Thor, you kind of just resign to just being a defender most of the time. As a longhouse will come up soon. And I think the grass plan is basically get Heroic Age, utilize Chaos to get a gold staff here. Matreiuss, on the other hand, if he can get the food in and get himself to the Heroic Age, he doesn't need to leave his base. And that's where life gets really good. As the Thor player. It's up onto this side. Raiding cavalry coming through as the walls, well, they're going up, and the units over here do get caught out. This is exactly the type of raid that Matreiuss is going to be needing, as the raiding cavalry can sneak right through here. Gets another kill coming in onto this side. The citizens trying to get back into the main base. There's a sentry tower there for the defense. He gets another citizen for sure. Does he get the other one? Nope. This citizen on this side is going to finish up the walls, and the raiding cavalry are going to pull back home. Herso back over onto this side, as Matreiuss does have grass in the slightest of binds here. Citizens getting taken down. Does he get the Vil pick? No, he doesn't get the Vil pick, but does he lose a Herso? Yo. It's going to be close. The Herso do have that All of Thanes, and they will get away from their 5.3 speed is enough. Big raids there from Matreiuss, as now he is going up through Skadi. He's got his walls up over onto this side. More buildings are going to come through, but grass does have a fairly significant military advantage. That being said, a lot of it is inside of these Kara Ballista, and while they are without question worth the 215 resource price tag, they're not worth it if they get targeted. If they get a hit, they're very, very fragile. The damage they output is gigantic. So the important part here for grass is to ensure that they are kept safe from raiding cavalry, Huskarl, and everything else. Grass coming in with the catapulties over onto this side. Is I'm surprised to see no throwing axemen actually on the side of Matreiuss, but he's got all those trolls, which, well, they're not perfect versus the Atlanteans, but there's not that many heroes for the moment here. For grass, as in comes the heroes. Big fight potentially brewing here, as Matreiuss just wants to continue playing defense for just a little bit longer. Does he have himself ballistics? Not just yet. Ballistics is one of the cool upgrades that you always forget when you're playing as Forseti, because it actually applies to the special ability of the cave troll, which makes it very, very tough to defend against and dodge. Whereas if you don't have ballistics, the troll kind of loses. Well, it's not very effective, basically. As now in comes Matreiuss. He says, time for the fight. The trolls do get some big boulder tosses into the middle here. I don't know if this is a fight that Matreiuss can actually win, though. No chaos in. There goes the chaos now into the middle of the fight as Frost gets dropped. But that there cannot have been good for Matreiuss. Villagers, for the moment, they're going to be coming through. It might be a worthwhile move to use those villagers to get on top of the back line of those Kara Ballista. Berserk's coming in, more trolls coming through. There's so much favor in the bank for Matreiuss. Units streaming in up onto the top side. Is Satyr going to be coming through? That's not that effective here, but still. 5 seconds remaining as the reinforcements from the surface on the way. One hero Kara Ballista over here goes straight in on top of that troll, as that's going to get shanked down. Can Matreiuss hold on here? Dwarves getting pulled. The boys are in. Satyr goes down onto this side. He's not attacking with the dwarves, though. Herso doing what they can to keep themselves going through all this. The military differential is very, very close as the troll pulls back behind the wall here. And it looks like another healing spring. Clutch healing spring to come through there to keep the Herso alive. And Grass, well, he's going to continue trying to make this attack happen as the troll over here pulls back again through that very crucial wall. In comes that big boulder toss. You can see the ballistics paying dividends there. And Matreiuss survives. And he survives with a very, very close military differential. As Grass has to pull back, villagers making their way over onto the berry bushes. There's still hunt here. There's still hunt here. There's plenty of food on the map. Grass spamming out raiding cavalry, throwing axemen. I don't mind raiding cavalry getting built, but I do question why not go for Jarls here. You have access to them. They have more survivability. That's all you really need from them. Once they're onto the Caraballister, it doesn't really matter. They're going to get picked to pieces. As Matreiuss, he's run out of food on this side. Where to next? You can go heavy onto wood, drop a hill fort, and start making Huskal. As he does, charge up to this top side, trying to spot if there's any hunt here, and he will see some crowned crane. That's going to be probably his next move, but it's a dangerous one, to say the very least. As the walls are going to come up onto this side. Does Grass see this? The line of sight is just barely not in there as he spots the citizens over on this side. Hero Contarius coming through for Grass. Does Grass notice anything on the left? No, he doesn't. He's got no scouting there. It's the army from Grass looking very scary. There's still going to be another minute left of delay before another chaos, and the favor's not in. As Matreiuss sees the army and goes, okay, there's no implode coming for me. That's the scary part here, I think, for Matreiuss, the way that he's playing this. He has to confirm what's actually happening. Is into this position now. Another big fight, and Grass with some pretty tricky micro there. Back and forth here to make those Caraballister incredibly valuable. As in comes the troll special again. Up onto this side. Hero, or not even a hero Contarius, just a heavy Contarius. Be poking in the back. For more buildings to come down. A potential hill fort for Matreiuss isn't the most useful of things because there's always going to be a deconstruction. But you do need it to get to the next age regardless. As heavy infantry now finally going to be coming through. Grass 165 pop. Matreiuss 162 pop. Armory upgrades for both players. Grass is at he's at tier 1 basically. Matreiuss is at tier 2. As he charges up to the top side, he saw those citizens a while ago, and he's going to attempt to prevent them from getting back to safety. How many citizens? He's going to get all of them. Nope, one gets away, but that's a huge win there for Matreiuss. As Grass says, all right, it's time to take the fight there as the trolls get that special in. Can the raiding cavalry Herser get in onto that back line? Yes, they can. 1 Caraballister down, 2 Caraballister down, 3 Caraballister down. The Satyr going to be falling there as well as the back line of Throwing Axemen are looking incredibly powerful here. Herdman now on the way as well, and Grass's army melts there. After losing all those citizens, losing an army as well, he's grabbing a town center. I think that Matreiuss can do whatever he wants now. He can charge in, try and take out the main town center. He can go for his own second town center here. He can go Mythic Age. The world and whatever decisions he wants to make are completely up to him, and there is no wrong choice here, ladies and gentlemen. Matreiuss is in full control at the moment. Citizen on this position dies. Another citizen dying. Infrastructure going to be going down in this main position as well. What can Grass do to pull this game back? There's no weaknesses for the moment to raid from Matreiuss. Hillfort's up on this position. Contarius and hitting that gold mine is kind of the only option here as the palace is going up over here. It's getting denied. Kind of. Yes, it does get denied with 2 seconds remaining. Hero Arcus getting built, but the raiding cavalry are going to try and push their way through to deal with this as the spider eggs get dropped. Nice shoot and scoot there as there was 1 frost giant ends up falling, but that front line is going to be going down. Lots of low HP Herser getting in onto this back line, trying to break past those Contarius. There's just not enough military here from Grass. There's units everywhere, taking out villages left, right, and center. And Grass taps out as Matreiuss is 1 win from his first finals appearance. And he is looking so ridiculously locked in at the moment. Grass is now out one of his very, very key picks inside of that Chronos. Matreiuss still has his pride and joy inside of Loki left in his draft. And this series just got really, really interesting. Let's jump back to the draft and see what Game 4 is going to bring us. This is wild. Alrighty, our next matchup. Wait. Okay, no, I'm getting confused. I thought Matreiuss picked Odin here, but that's not the case. Our next matchup here is going to be Odin versus Amaterasu on the map Ghost Lake. Okay. Well, Matreiuss and Grass are both non-DLC specialists. But Matreiuss is forced into some DLC gods here. Technically speaking, there was still a couple of unpicked non-DLC gods from the looks of it. I guess Gaia was banned out, Poseidon, Ra, Set, Isis were picked. I guess you could consider Demeter a non-DLC god. All the Norse have been picked. I guess that's it. All the Atlanteans. Yeah, he had to go into his Japanese. This is definitely outside the Matreiuss comfort zone. But Grass's Odin, it's not even just that Matreiuss is outside of his comfort zone. Grass, his Norse is so good. The only issue is, the only Norse that I've seen out of Grass thus far, is some variant of pure Herser through Forseti. I haven't seen him playing Freya. I haven't seen him playing Heimdall. I don't even think I've seen him playing Ulla from memory. I don't think I've seen any of that. He played lots of Freya, not in this tournament. Maybe he did. I don't know. I can't remember. I just remember him building lots and lots and lots of Herser. That's all I remember. So, he doesn't have that option with Odin. So what does Matreiuss do? He likes Naginata Riders. It's not the best versus Odin either. You don't have access to Inari Okami. It's not an easy matchup. I feel like I'm getting gaslit by chat. I'm fairly sure I'm correct. If there was one Freya game to the 15 billion Forseti games I've seen out of Grass, all right, I'll give you that, but I'm getting gaslit for sure. All right, guys, game number 4. 1 win away from the finals for Matreiuss. Grass got to lock in here. Let's see if we can do it. We're going in onto Ghost Lake. And off we go, ladies and gentlemen. Matreiuss, top right of the map. Grass, bottom left of the map. Odin, Amaterasu, or should I say Amaterasu, Odin. It is sort of coming back to me. I did see Grass playing one game of Odin, and he doesn't go for the new hyper meta build where you rush the temple out and you get yourself in all those early Herser. It's coming back to me. I think he might have done that versus Garneth. Anyways. Still getting gaslit by Twitch chat. That's all they do. So, it's double Goldmine, Ghost Lake. So there's lots and lots and lots of ways that this can go very, very deep into the game. Very, very deep into the game. Grass here. Fast Freya. Fast-ish Freya. Looking for Valkyrie picks. One thing I think that Matreiuss has got to be considering is not going for Amino Uzume. This is one of the matchups where it doesn't really make sense to go for that god. Just on the fact that you don't really want to run in and suicide Weasels and give favor over to the Odin. The Odin wants you to come in and wants you to suicide your Weasels, drop your Solar Shield, trying to kill off villagers while he just beats away at your come a touch and getting yourself all that favor. That being said, there are probably some offbeat strats where you go Amino Uzume and you don't make a single Weasel, instead saving all that favor for a heroic age or either Raiju or Tengu. That sort of makes sense in this matchup. Nonetheless, it will be Mina Katatomi for Matreiuss. Over onto this side, we have the arrows of the Alpha. In the middle of the map, there is the Sistrum of Bast, making villages a little bit cheaper. Big Malian statue here is kind of a big relic for Matreiuss to be wanting to pick up. Did he spot it? He hasn't spotted it. Unfortunate. And then the Kui drum. Why is this relic so good for Matreiuss? Well, he's probably going to be on the defense. Probably going to get raided quite a bit in this game. So Big Malian statue would keep him alive. On the side of grass, he does see that relic. And I imagine immediately the Hersa is going to be making its way over there. Or he wants the one in the middle. That's not there. Sistrum of Bast is nice because, of course, cheaper villages is something like, what is it? Every minute, something like, well, it used to be 20 food a minute, right? 5 off. That was in Legacy when it's only 5 food off. I think it's even more than that. How much are the villages costing? 8. 8 off now. So there you go. So closer to 30 food a minute, so 0.05 food per minute is quite nice when you're in one town center, and then 60 food per minute on 2 TCs and things like that. But anyways, Matreiuss into the next age. Stable coming down straight away here from Matreiuss. I'm not exactly surprised to see this because it's Matreiuss, but this is not something... Actually, you know what? Making Naginata Rider Samurai kind of makes sense here. Maybe Naginata Rider Samurai mixing in a couple of Yati Spearmen does make some sense here. As immediately Grass going to be dropping double Great Halls, and he says, all I want to do is build Cav. Cav for days. As in comes the Shrine of the Hunt there, as the food is going to be finishing up. Big upgrade to come through with Saltwater Spring. And that's going to be a lot of food income for Matreiuss to just chill out in his base while he builds up some scary units. The Naginata Riders over here coming in to try and prevent that Valkyrie from getting back home. Miko there to get one little bit of a smack in. Naginata Riders will chase this Valkyrie down. They do have the speed advantage with the Kitsune getting involved, but I think that Valkyrie is going to get back home. No problems. Meanwhile, villagers from Grass around onto the backside here. Up until Thundering Hooves is in, the speed advantage and raid advantage does actually go the side of the Japanese player here, as Matreiuss is sneaking around the back. Does he have any inkling to hit this food on the back? I'm just watching this dark space and he doesn't know it's there. Going to be charging in past here as the Hersa. They're in position to be playing defense up onto this side, looking for a raid over here. Of course, Forest Fire is an option, but there is going to be a bunch of wolves sitting in here to defend for Matreiuss, as Matreiuss quickly pulls into the tower. Another house coming up over here as more Naginata Riders going to be joining in. And we'll start to see some cheeky little walls coming up from Grass. Looking to potentially set up to secure this position with a wall here. This is a beautiful cliff for Grass to get that set up as the Naginata Riders do catch out the raiding cavalry. He'll turn around and try and take a bit of a fight there, but that's going to be losing him a raiding cavalry if he's not careful, and I think he is going to be dropping that one. 10 HP in a dream there as the Kitsune is kind of getting in the way, but some reinforcements, or not even reinforcements, going around the backside. As Matreiuss decides to let that Naginata Rider get back to safety. Heals that one back up. Of course, a little bit of Bushido comes in from Matreiuss. Every little bit of a fight is very good as this villager trying to get the wall up for the time being here. That's going to get caught out. And yes, there is some defense here and a potential solar shield wouldn't be a terrible idea either, as the villagers over here getting targeted down. Does he lose this one? Nope, not losing anything. In fact, danger in the main base here as some revenge fire comes in. Let's the other raiding cavalry get out of there. And Grass is getting in and out. Very, very fortunate as this Kitsune does get caught out here. Villager going to be returning back in. Losing that Kitsune hurts a little bit. You can just build it back out. Not a big issue there. But still, Grass doesn't have himself that Thundering Hooves tech. He's got the favor for it now. I would assume that's a must-grab, immediate grab technology as the raiding cavalry coming through. Matreiuss this time not paying attention on this side as the villagers, well, both of those get caught out and damage there for Grass is done. No revenge damage either. Wolves getting damage done doesn't give Bushido in as well, so no problems for Grass to get in, get those picks and get out. So 2 villager lead, 1 villager lead, now constructed. It's a bit strange, it's only 1. I expected it to be a little bit bigger, but I think maybe Grass has been having some production problems throughout this game. So now the Samurai are going to be on the way. I do think it's worthwhile here, considering the way that Grass plays. If you can get your head into what Grass is thinking, Grass really, really likes to play 1 unit compositions as much as he possibly can. That's at least my feeling on the matter. If you get your head into that and you go, okay, well, how can I just catch out the 1 unit composition? Well, you get some Yati in here as well. As over onto this side, the raiding cavalry sneaking. What is this villager doing? Running away, it seems. Does get picked off. Still no solar shields getting dropped down as the wolves doing what they can. Samurai coming over here to say, get out of here. 1 wall that just gets dropped here would put a lot of a stop to all of these attacks happening. But Grass is getting small amounts of damage, getting lots and lots of value. I have to imagine he's got to be thinking about going to the heroic age here. So Naginata Riders will get a little bit of revenge damage in. The 1 Udok coming through, and is this going to catch Grass out actually is the big question. He wants a heroic age, and heroic age is like technically the right call here, but Matreiuss knows he wants a heroic age, and Matreiuss is full spamming. And he's got siege weapons. And he's got samurai. And there is not a single throw an axeman out for Grass here. The main base is going to be in for some trouble. There's the samurai on the Musha, on the way. Skadi is coming through onto this town center. Very, very scary moment here for Grass. If he gets to the heroic age, it's obviously fine. He can drop a frost. No problems. In comes the raiding cavalry onto the back. 1 Yudo going to be targeting down the town center here. No usage of the solar shield at the moment. And it's looking like the town center might end up falling. He sees the Hersir over onto this side. Hersir diving, dipping, ducking. They will get in onto the town center. The 1 Yudo needs to get pulled away. Villagers going down here as well as the samurai to come through. We do have over onto this side the solar shield coming in. As the Hersir do manage to pick off 1 Yudo, but the town center here does manage to stay alive as in comes the heroic age from Grass. But Matreiuss, damage is done. He's spreading out up onto the top side to hit the gold mine there. Over onto this side, that Valkyrie doing well, but that's going to go down as Grass doesn't keep his cool over onto that side. Too much chaos for the moment. And there's not really a position here to drop Frost in. As the Samurai picking villagers off over here, they'll be able to get through this wall to safety. As Matreiuss returns in with his one unit to get more damage done. Grass is down to 40 population here, ladies and gentlemen. Wooden gate getting broken down. More units on the way. The temple will finish up here, and a Frost onto that many units only. A desperation Frost for Grass to try and keep himself going. And look at the Bushido for Matreiuss at the moment. He's almost up to heavy. Valkyrie, well, they're going to be coming through quickly. Ondamusha coming in. One Udor coming through to continue the push. There's still so much favor in the bank here for Matreiuss as well. As Matreiuss says, hello there, Sailor. I can charge in if I like. This town center is attacking a frosted unit, so there's actually nothing happening there. Up to the top side now, though. Matreiuss, well, he's about to say, I wonder where the gold villagers are, as he spots a whole bunch of dwarves over here into the main base again. The town center, he does not care about it, trying to take villagers out underneath this position as well. Heavy Samurai now in. Villagers coming through to start shanking, but there's villagers dropping left, right, and center. Even if Matreiuss loses all of these units, it's not going to matter here, ladies and gentlemen. The Frost Giants are going to be huge. They are going to be really, really helpful to keep himself alive. But look at what's happening on this top side. 2 kills for this Heavy Naginata Rider. 5 kills for this Samurai. Villagers falling. And Grass seemingly out of options here. What can he do next? How can he bring this game back? He's down 26 to 41 villages. He does have a tech advantage for the Frost Giants, but no gold income. Great Hall gets taken out. Samurai coming in yet again. There are a couple of villages, only 4 on the top gold mine. Matreiuss has got to keep his cool here. He's got such a crazy advantage. He does not need to go full all in. The one way I think Grass brings this back is with one good fight. Forest Fire is still available. Not that that's a... Well, it could be a game-winning fight if Matreiuss falls asleep. Raiding Cavalry and Shield Maiden Valkyrie, they're going to be splitting off, looking to charge into the main base. But what can he hit? There's no weaknesses here for Matreiuss. Matreiuss can get defensive units in as well in a pinch. He's got the wolves up onto this side still. Villagers finishing up on the herdables to boot. He can go into farms. There's no need to risk going in onto outwards hunt and things like that. It's Raijin, the god of choice. As you need those thrown axemen, but Raijin is going to cook them. Especially as they've got no upgrades. But for the moment, so much favor in the bank for Frost Giants, but there's 10 on Namusha out. So you have to break through those first and foremost. Matreiuss going to be charging up to full population as it's ready to push in. He's about to hit that heroic age. In comes copper weapons, copper mail as well for Grass. He's got nothing here. He's got himself medium infantry. Town center going to be getting targeted down. There goes the Thunderburst while this is all happening. Town center will inevitably fall here. Though Matreiuss, no, he says, no, we'll go and actually take the fight. Villagers get pulled off. All the units here left with a very small amount of HP after tanking every single shockwave of this Thunderburst. As the hero on the Musha cleaning up all of these Frost Giants. And Grass is left with nothing but a couple of throw-in axemen. The Ondamusha might go down here, but now comes in the Raiju. It's 4k military to 1k. It's 17 villages to 46. And Matreiuss is going in to the finals for the first time, as Grass is unable to make the finals this week. He's got one chance left to make Athens a reality. Matreiuss to the finals. What an insane run he is having this playoffs. This is looking as much like vintage Matreiuss that I've ever seen. He is coming in with aggression. He is coming in with poise. And he is playing some incredibly high-level Age of Mythology at the moment. One more win for Matreiuss. One more set for Matreiuss and he's through. But there are two incredibly powerful contestants, players, Age of Mythology pros, waiting to play their semi-final next. Magic and Soup. Don't you guys go nowhere. We're going to take a short break while we wait for the game to get set up. Congrats to Matreiuss. We'll see him playing later today, I guess. But Magic and Soup are next up. Don't you guys go nowhere. See you guys soon.